Good morning. Tony Skilton from Brushford Bazaar has given me this little story to tell you this morning. A duck walks into a pub and orders a pint of beer and a ham sandwich. The barman looks at him and says, "Hang on, you're a duck." "I see your eyes are working," replies the duck. "And you can talk," exclaims the barman. "I see your ears are working as well," says the duck. "Now, if you don't mind, can I have my beer and my sandwich, please?" "Oh, certainly, sorry about that," says the barman as he pulls the duck's pint. "It's just we don't get many ducks in this pub." "What are you doing round this way?" "I'm working on the building site across the road," explains the duck. "I'm a plasterer." The flabbergasted barman cannot believe the duck and wants to learn more, but takes the hint when the duck pulls out a newspaper from his bag and proceeds to read it. So the duck reads his paper, drinks his beer, eats his sandwich, bids the barman good day and leaves. And the same thing happens for the next 2 weeks. Then one day the circus comes to town and the ringmaster comes into the pub for a pint and the barman says to him, "You're with the circus, aren't you?" "Well, I know this duck that could be just brilliant in your circus. He talks and drinks beer, eats sandwiches, reads the newspaper and everything." "Sounds marvellous," says the ringmaster, handing over his business card. "Get him to give me a call." So the next day when the duck comes into the pub, the barman says, "Hey, Mr. Duck, I reckon I can line you up with a real top job, paying really good money and everything else." And the duck says, "Oh, I'm always looking for the next job." "Where is it?" "It's at the circus." "The circus," repeats the duck. "That's right," says the barman. "The circus? What, the circus with a big tent?" "Yeah," the barman replies. "With all the animals who live in cages and performers who live in caravans?" "Of course," the barman replies. "That's what the circus is." "And the tent with canvas sides and a big canvas roof with a hole in the middle?" says the duck. "That's right," says the barman. The duck shakes his head in absolute amazement and says, "What on earth would they want with a plasterer?" And I listened to that story and I thought, that is just so true. We can be so blind sometimes to what our own vocation is. We can be blinkered and think that what we do is what we do and nothing else can ever come our way. And I think that's a bit of what Jesus challenges us with at almost every stage of our life. And I think it also probably as a church we ought to be thinking about now. What is the church going to be like in the future? Is it going to be just the same? Is it going to be very different? I hope it's very different because I think that in some ways the church has built up walls about itself, and certainly when I was a regular member of a church, I thought that the church I belonged to was very open and accessible to other people, but I'm not so sure now. And having spent a few years now outside of the church, although still feeling very much a part of the family of faith, because I think, that great question, who are my mothers, my brothers and my sisters and so on, that little story from Matthew chapter 12, I think that's very true. We can sometimes be blind to who are really our mothers, our brothers and our sisters. They're not just those who are related to us by any means. They are all of us. And this is a real opportunity, I think, to build a church without walls. But within that church without walls, there are vocations. And we shouldn't be blind. And it's been really good. There's been people like, I've mentioned before, Amanda Ray, but others in this community of ours in Dulverton who have seen their vocation as being something outside of their normal box of activity. And that's really good. And that, I think, is where we should be thinking with the church, as church members. Where are we going to be serving God outside the box? And if you've ever had a chance to read Bishop Richard Harris' book, God Outside the Box. A good few years old now, perhaps even 20 years old, I think. It is a well worth read because it's it's not a deep theological book. It's just good practical ideas about how we can be church to each other outside of the box. Amen.